Welcome, everybody, to episode 29 of the Dual Boot Diaries.
What is this? We talked about this. I do the numbers.
No, I do the numbers as well.
You've never...
I do. Check the tape of the Dual Boot Diaries, the weekly podcast where two longtime Windows users learn to use Linux daily. I am one of your co-hosts, Patrick Murray.
I'm your other co-host, Will Smith, and we're not Linux experts, but what we are going to do is we're going to learn how to use Linux. We're going to keep Windows on our computers, and then at some point in the future, we're going to be like, you know what? We're saying goodbye to either Windows or Linux.
Yeah.
That's the Dual Boot Diaries
We're going to delete. Just alt delete.
I can delete your partition right now. You want me to go? Let's go. Let's dance.
No, there's a code that people always tell me to put in the terminal.
RM space RF asterisk dash RF. Yeah, that's it.
It sounds like a cool.
Don't do that.
Should I do that?
Yeah, you
Actually,
should.
I would love
They
to.
shouldn't.
You know what? I do kind of want to set up a laptop and run it just to see what happens.
Look.
Does it show anything cool? At least, or no?
It depends on your terminal, I guess, whether it shows you the stuff that's being deleted. But
or if it just turns black.
Have you heard the Pixar story about Toy Story 2?
No.
Where somebody RF'd their repo that held all of the assets for the movie, and they were sitting there looking at the file structure in a browser, and they saw files, folders and files just disappearing one at a time, scenes, shots, the whole thing. And it was a fantastic short that was on Toy Story 2 DVD extras or something. And Orrin Jacobs and a couple other people tell the stories from their perspective as they were sitting in the op center looking at the files going away. And finally they picked up the phone unplug it, turn off all the computers, just kill the power, whatever you have to. And then the thing that saved the day, because they deleted it all, was beyond the hope of recovery. The backups failed. This is why you always test your backups, by the way. The backups failed, and the only thing that saved them was one of the animators had taken the entire project on a workstation home because she was on maternity leave, on her post-pregnancy, coming back to work, but had to be at home, yada, yada. And so they had a clean copy there, and they only lost a week's worth of work on a couple of things.
Lucky. Wow.
Yeah, but maybe you wouldn't have had maybe Toy Story 2 wouldn't have been so sad.
Yeah.
If it hadn't been
and the
for
rest
that.
is history.
Yeah.
Look at
exactly.
that.
So
Crazy.
yeah, RM/R-RF asterisk.
I'm putting it in right now.
Yeah.
We're going to answer some questions today. We got a lot of questions, but before we do, we got a little bit of homework.
Couple
that we
of
want to
homework
get
items.
to. Yeah. Do you want to go
I can
first?
kick it off. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So last week you had a really brilliant idea, which is I was surprised too.
Hold on. Let's call my wife.
Yeah.
I want to hear her to hear this.
I got it.
Yeah,
Here you go. Hey, Lindsay, Adam did something smart. But you said, hey, your laptop has 2 sticks of RAM in it, and you're having Hibernate problems that I thought were maybe because the partition, the swap file partition so hold on, step back. Caching machine running ButterFS, all of the different subvolumes, all of the different volumes are subvolumes of the ButterFS partition. So that means there's not 5 partitions on this laptop. There's just one big partition, and then it has subvolumes in there to make the boot and the boot and the root and the home and the swap file. And that works fine when the machine's up. But the Hibernate, so I was it looks like the swap file is exactly the size of the RAM, but I'm getting hey, you can't hibernate. The system can't hibernate when I tried to system control space hibernate. So you were why don't you just pull a stick of RAM? Then it'll be 16 gigs of memory, and it'll fit in the 32 gig swap file. So I was that's a brilliant idea. I popped out my hex screws, unscrewed the bottom of the framework, pulled out one stick of RAM, turned it back on. I turned it off first, just for the record. No comments, bro.
And it was easy to get to because of the framework.
It was security bits, so I was a little disappointed. But I realized they ship a screwdriver with it. I just don't have the screwdriver at home. So I did all that, and I ran the Hibernate test, and it failed. So then that helped me narrow it down, because that told me it's a ButterFS swap file subvolume problem, not a hey, your swap file's too small problem.
Oh, okay.
So what I did was I just shrunk the whole ButterFS partition about 33 gigs, and then made a new swap file at the end of the drive that's a swap file partition, standalone. And I booted it up, and then Cashie's hey man, you have 64 gigs or 65 gigs of swap files. That's pretty cool. It's more swap file I need, but hard drive space is cheap, and I would like my computer to not have a dead battery
there you go.
when I don't use it for 3 or 4 days.
And
So now it hibernates.
Woohoo! Did you put the RAM back in?
Yeah, the RAM's back in.
Or did you sell it? You pawned it
I
off?
put it on. It's on eBay right now.
Actually, don't do that.
RAM Hauler 69. So the bad news. There's bad news. Though. This is a good news, bad news situation. So Hibernate works.
You didn't warn me.
Hibernate works.
Okay.
Resume less so. So this is like one of those half good is not all the way situations.
Like it won't wake up.
Because I have to hard reset the machine now when it goes to hibernate.
Which is essentially like shutting it down.
Look, we don't need to talk about but we're making progress is the thing.
Yeah.
I didn't have that much time to spend on it. So
why?
It's been a busy GDC.
No. Why do you think it's not working?
It's because I know why it's not working. I just haven't had time to figure it out for Limelight. I had the same problem with suspend on my Windows PC, if you recall, where you have to pass through the bootloader the location of the RAM because the bootloader has to basically grab the stuff out of the swap file and dump it back into RAM when you resume from hibernate or suspend.
Okay.
And the bootloader wasn't doing that. So the bootloader doesn't know where the swap file is.
Oh.
And I just basically have to put a command line argument on the bootloader command line that says, hey, use this partition at this UUID and it'll work, I think. I didn't get that far down the path, but
right.
I'm feeling optimistic.
We'll check back next week to see if it works. What else?
Noctalia. I talked about last week we said, hey, you should try Marathon on GeForce Now.
I asked, is it on GeForce Now?
Yeah. You asked if you tried Marathon on GeForce Now. And I said, oh man, I should check. Maybe I can play Marathon because Marathon has some DRM anti-cheat that prevents it from working on Linux, right? It seems like. And I went to GeForce Now on Thursday when they typically add new games, and I loaded up GeForce Now and I synced it up with my Steam profile and I searched for Marathon, and I got some weird game from like 100 years ago, but not actually Marathon. So not on GeForce Now. And then I Googled, there's a whole bunch of threads that are like, yo, why isn't Marathon on GeForce Now? Blah, 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 blah. And TBD on that. I've been playing Marathon on the PC though. Seems quite good.
Womp womp.
Last week I had a stupid idea. The GitHub has achievements, and a lot of people who use GitHub use Linux. I wonder if there's a tool that will do Xbox 360 style. You've got an achievement toast,
and
at the bottom of the screen every time you get a GitHub achievement. Doesn't seem to exist. So I'm going to give this one. Normally I'd email this to myself and I'd be like, patent pending. I'm going to vibe code this and it's going to be a thing.
Okay.
I'm not going to actually do that. This time I'm giving it to the community. If I want you, somebody in the community, if you want to make $1 billion, this is $1 billion business idea.
$1 billion.
Yes, you can get all the stars on GitHub. If you build a tool that lets people pop Xbox 360 style achievement toast, with
the audio and everything.
Look, hold on.
It's got to have the audio.
You could style them. If you want to get fancy, you could make them look like an Xbox. They could like a PlayStation. They could look like a Steam.
It's got to be the original.
I think
Xbox
the Xbox 360 is the one that hits my heartstrings.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I want.
I don't care when I get Steam achievements, to tell you the truth.
No, I just turn off the notification. Yeah. What I'm looking for, and I think again, $1 billion idea. So put this in your pocket. It's an app that watches your GitHub account. You hook it up to GitHub, which you're already hooked up to in Linux anyway if you're a programming nerd. And every time you get into achievement, it's like, boom, Xbox 360 achievement notification with the sound and the little animation that tells you what the achievement is and the description of it underneath, because that's in there already.
That seems easy.
Seems like a billion. You could be the next guy who started GitHub.
Who was that?
GitHuberson.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of people.
Bodie McBoatface?
No. I mean, look, this is awkward because you actually kind of... Anyway, look, they're around. They're in the neighborhood even. Because a lot of the people who started GitHub were at CNET back in the day, down the street.
Oh. Yeah. Ew. Okay.
Anyway, the point is, I want the Xbox achievement toast for GitHub achievements. Google Meeting on laptop I didn't mess with. I did not get to the point where I was packaging up the driver and getting it to work for the AIO. Noctalia did have a good update, which I think we touched a little bit at the end of last week. I can't remember. The velocity on them, like this week, they added the ability to trigger idle commands based on timeouts. So like the computer sleeps right and all that stuff. Now it's really good. It incredible. It's really nice having a computer update and being excited about it instead of feeling a kind of light sense of dread about what they've changed.
No. What new AI thing did they put in now?
So speaking of new AI things, I installed OpenClaw on my desktop. OpenClaw, for folks who don't know, look, never let it be said that I don't make sacrifices for people, for the audience.
I'm just trying to think why.
Well, I've had multiple conversations with people who I consider generally pretty smart who are like, oh, this is really good. This is changing the way I interact with my computer. And if there's one thing that I like, that we all know, I like changing the way I interact with my computer.
Okay.
And also, when I slag on stuff, I like to do it from a place of informed knowledge rather than just reading stuff on the internet or watching angry YouTube videos.
Okay.
So sometimes you got to touch the stove and, you got to taste the Kool-Aid. I don't know, eat the fire. I don't know what your metaphor, pick your metaphor. Sometimes you got to actually try it out. And I haven't looked at this stuff in a while. So I loaded up OpenClaw and I couldn't get it to work. So then I put $20 worth of credits into Claude Code. And I hooked it up to Claude Code, and I was like, "Yo, make this work," and it made it work. And I was like, "Oh man, this is not a good sign." Okay. It cost $3, just to be clear.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Well, okay, so at first I put $5 worth of Claude Code credits in, and it was like, "You didn't put enough money in, man. You got to pay more." So I was like, "Okay." So then I put another 10, and it's still 20. It turns out is the magic number.
Wow.
So I put 20, rolling heavy here. Put $20 worth of credits.
You could have just given me $20.
I mean, you couldn't fix my computer.
No.
Yeah.
You could just give it to me, though.
So I did that. And then I was like, okay, Claude Code, how do I make this run locally and not on your stuff? And it was like, install Ollama and then pick one of these 3 models. And I was like, perfect. So I did that. And then I turned off Claude Code. So I still got a cool $16.50 worth of credits on Claude Code. Which, maybe I'll vibe code that Xbox 360 thing. But
tell Will what he should do with his credits.
But I set it up. I haven't hooked it up to a ton of stuff yet. I'm a little bit wary of hooking it up to like email and stuff like that. But I did set it up, and I've asked it to do some things, and it's been singularly unhelpful up until this point running the local models. But I'm going to keep at it, and I'll keep kind of it's in the futzing category for right now. Because the nice thing about being on Linux is I don't have to fool with any of the WSL stuff or any of that. It just runs on the metal of the hardware, and it can tap into the full. It took. I'll be honest, it took kind of a long time to get, like, figuring out the Ollama stuff was pretty easy because it's just a package you install like anything else. And then you run Ollama and you download the models that you want, just like you do on Windows or whatever. And we've talked about that on the Full Nerd a little bit off and on over the years. Getting it to run on the GPU on Linux was surprisingly difficult. So, because at first I was running it and I'd type something and then it would be like a minute and a half before it would respond. And I was like, so the idea of the OpenClaw stuff is that you have some basic models and they dole out work. You set up models to do specific things. So you set up a model that's like tuned for picking out emails that are important to you, things you've responded to, people you've responded to in the past, the types of emails you respond to, stuff like that. That seems generally useful. I'm terrified to attach it to my email because I'm afraid it'll start writing stuff for me and sending it without my knowledge. The larger thing is kind of what I don't know what to try to use this for beyond that. So like I thought about vibe coding some app. I don't know. That seems like a mistake on a couple of different levels, but we'll try it. Let me know what you think I should do. I'm here doing the science so that you all don't have to.
Yeah, I guess I'm really confused to hear you go down this route.
Well, see, okay, so the smart people I know had talked a lot about Copilot. Here's the thing. This is a choice for me. I'm all about choice.
Okay.
So I made the choice to do this thing that I shouldn't have done. On Windows, I just keep getting Copilot jammed into stuff I don't want. There's no OpenClaw in my notepad.
There you go.
You know?
Okay.
I'm just trying it out.
For your paint.
Yeah, for my paint. Yeah. So anyway, let me know what you think.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm sure these comments are going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
That's great.
That's it.
Always be testing. That's what we say.
That's the PCWorld motto. It has been forever, since 1984.
Of course, yeah. That's
always be testing.
Yeah. So I have a couple updates. I am back on Besite on my home theater PC.
Feeling comfortable? Feeling at home?
Yes.
Okay.
Like the audio thing still bugs me to high heaven.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Have you looked at like a script that you run when something's detected on that input so that like it just automatically switches the ALSA mixer input.
Well, there's actually been a lot of good chatter on our Discord.
You should
about
talk
this
to
stuff.
OpenClaw. I might be able to fix this for you.
Oh, okay. You got $16 worth of credits you can give me?
I'm not look. You can get your own credits, buddy.
And also, luckily, I should say, after last week's episode where I talked about my frustration with Nobara on that home theater PC, Mr. Nobara himself, Glorious Egg Roll.
Yeah, I saw Glorious Egg
Yeah,
Roll in the chat.
he got into the YouTube comments and was like, "Oh, hey, I'd be curious to know, what issues you had," kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to follow up with him, so hopefully I can continue to have a conversation with him about that stuff.
Also, the Nobara launcher daily, the launch screen, original content. It's not a port of the Cashier Arch one or whatever.
Yep. So I'm curious to know more about that. So with all that said, there's two pieces I want to talk about today.
Okay.
One of them is I want to contribute. I see what you're doing over here. You're able to contribute kind
with
of stuff.
Stream OS and with my two pull requests.
Yeah. And I was just like, wait, so
what's your contribution?
I understand. Well, I understand. I'm sitting here complaining about stuff, and then just taking my Ventoy thumb drive and just reinstalling.
Yeah,
and a lot
you
of
want to be
people
part of the solution rather than part of the problem. That's what I'm hearing.
And I'm like, come on, I can't be. It can't be. I actually don't think it's just me having these ALSA mixer problems. Like I'm coming.
No, this is an old complaint from way back.
Yeah.
To be clear.
So like it's not just ALSA mixer. It's but like I'm having a problem plugging in the audio through the headset or the controller. So I totally know that that's probably a very small group of people who are doing that. Who knows? Maybe
real
not.
weirdos. Yeah.
But either way, a lot of people have come out of the woodwork and said, yes, I've had that same issue where audio has been low, and I just have not been able to get even Linus did a new Linux challenge video.
Linus of Linus Tech Tips. Linus.
Yeah, of Linus Tech Tips. And he even mentioned that, his audio was really low. He ran into that thing. So like this sounds like
that with the ROG Ally X too.
Oh, yeah. So like I don't know how I can necessarily help with this stuff, but my first step, I want to take my first step.
Okay.
And I want to take my first step here with you.
Right now?
And here with you right now.
Wow.
Because I realized, we talked about this a little bit last week, and I was like, well, how do you make a GitHub account?
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, oh, you already have one with your...
Here, I'll tell you what.
But I don't.
Give me your credit card and give me your social security number, and I'll set it up for you right now. No problem. I got it. I'm going to feed into OpenClaw.
No, so I'm going to github.com right now.
Yeah. I'm
going into create an account.
Yeah.
Because I did try to sign in with my Outlook,
my
Microsoft account.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have anything in there. So
That's weird. I mean, I can't help but notice it says continue with Google or continue with Apple. It doesn't say continue with Microsoft there, which is weird because this is a fine Microsoft product.
Yeah. So should I do it with my Google account? Is there any good reason to tie it to my Microsoft account?
I don't think it matters. Where do you want to get the emails? It generates kind of a lot of email if you're doing a lot of work. So like my GitHub account is tied to a Fastmail subdomain. I talked about Fastmail in the newsletter last year. But it's tied to a one-off email that only gets GitHub emails. Oh. So that way I just spun up an email alias. So I get all of my GitHub stuff goes into one folder and I don't ever see it, which is exactly what I want from GitHub. Mainly because I think the GitHub address, if you start running public repos, becomes semi-public. So you don't want to use like your main. If you get to a point where you're doing a lot of contributions and stuff like that, then you probably don't want to have your like private no spam email. You want to use your public facing email.
Wait, I do want to use my public facing email?
You want to use the one that already gets a lot of spam, not the one that doesn't get any spam. This is an influencer problem, folks.
Yeah.
Adam's an influencer, so he has public-facing email that gets a lot of emails that start with, "Hey, I really love your podcast, and I would." I
don't get that many though.
Okay.
Like to be fair, not like you.
Give it some time.
Yeah. Well, so like I have my main. This is my main email account.
Yeah.
But like the other email account, which is pretty much my junk one, is that one.
I would use the junk one to start here.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Yeah. Okay. So then I'm creating an account right
just
now.
Say your password out loud.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Did you type it in, or did you use a password manager or something?
Password manager.
Okay. Cool.
Verify your account. Please solve a puzzle so you can safely create your account.
Are you kidding me?
A visual puzzle or an audio puzzle? Which one do I want?
I don't think an audio visual.
Okay.
I don't think either's going to play.
Use the arrows to move the person until they are standing in the same icon on the left image.
What
Man,
on
I have
earth is
never
this?
seen this. Oh, there's a person here. They're standing.
I hate this a lot.
I don't. This doesn't. Restart. Let's do another one. Okay. That's the icon. We want the dude standing on an icon. How did we get to this? What is?
Well, the thing is, we made the bots really good. It turns out.
Also, none of these look like the icon.
I don't think this is a very good CAPTCHA. Oh, you're in.
Okay. Wow.
That was an incredible journey.
The
what
process
a voyage of discovery.
for me to sign up to GitHub was needlessly frustrating. The CAPTCHA.
Yeah.
What was that? And then anyway, I'm in.
Can I tell, like,
I'm in.
I was out at a social event with some of my daughter's friends the other day and their parents. And I said, "Oh, hey, we signed up for this really incredible service. It's life-changing. It's really, really good. We love it. You guys would like it too. It'll be an series of enriching activities for your child."
OpenClaw.
She's like, "I'm not signing up for any new accounts."
At all?
Nope, none. She's like,
nothing.
"I have as many accounts as I'm ever going to have. I'm done. I'm done creating new accounts."
Wow.
And I was just like, man, I wish I had that kind of certainty with anything in my life.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah, what you got?
so I made a GitHub. I've done step 1.
Congratulations.
Like any journey, it just starts with one step.
Yeah.
So now I have a GitHub account. So now how do I contribute?
Now you go to Google and you search Alsa Mixer GitHub, and you're going to find out it's probably on GitLab, actually, because it's been around for a long time.
Funny.
And then you create a GitLab account, and then you leave a bug that says, "Hey, on this hardware, it's real quiet."
Yeah, well, we'll see. So, hey, I did that.
positive.
This is exciting. This is exciting. I have a GitHub account. Yeah, boom.
Yeah.
So number 2 is something that I had actually been thinking about for the past couple of weeks as you started talking about this, is that we are in a unique situation where we have a lot of hardware.
Yeah.
Like, we literally test hardware here at PCWorld.
Yeah, I mean,
I've literally have racks and racks of GPUs, CPUs, motherboards, coolers, SSDs, RAM. Don't tell anyone. Laptops.
you have to lock the door extra good
Yeah,
now.
exactly. We have a lot of hardware here, and people are like, man, there was a couple people that were like, they're in the best spot to help contribute to people's efforts, right?
It is very easy for me as a daily Linux user who has access to a whole buttload of AIOs to like load up Wireshark with the Windows VM and pull the data about how to write to the screen on the AIO.
Well, it made me think. Was like, if there's anyone out there watching that needs help and needs access to hardware, and they're like, oh wow, I'm doing this thing, I wish I knew how it ran on this. I mean, mostly maybe like a distro maintainer or something, like somebody who's like, oh man,
project
this,
maintainer. Honestly, I like project maintainers more because then that's going to hit all the distros.
Oh, true. Yeah. So like, I mean, like within my power, within my effort, if you're like, oh, hey, I don't have access to this motherboard, can you fire up this motherboard and make sure this works? I think, I don't know.
Honestly,
I mean, I'm here I want to help.
That would be a fun stream to do sometime. Like just come in and be like, hey, we have a hit list of like 20 things we need to grab something for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, nothing. Oops, all AIOs.
Yeah. I mean, we get a lot of pre-release stuff. I'm not saying I'm going to break embargoes or anything like that, but we do get stuff very early. And if somebody's trying to be like, oh man, this new thing that came out, oh, who do I know who has it? Oh, it's
Adam.
Yeah, it's probably a reviewer because we get stuff early. So if you're wondering how something runs on something brand new, maybe that's another way to do it. I don't know. I'm throwing it out in the universe. Once again, I'm not committing to anything. But like I realized we are in a special spot to be able to maybe give back to the community in ways that others aren't.
I realized we haven't seen any Panther Lake laptops yet, really, because like that gets handled someplace else now.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I can probably ping a couple people or ask Ashley to maybe divert some of
routed
ours.
to us
Yeah.
on the way out.
Yeah, that we are reviewing them on the website. They're just haven't come this way
we
for
don't
video.
do
Yeah.
videos of them as much anymore. I'm just interested in that kind of stuff. Like I kind of want to load up that XPS and see if the IPU7 camera works now, because there've been a bunch of changes. I like dipped into that repo the other day. I was like, oh, they've done some
really?
work here. And it seems like stuff is changing, and the list of cameras supported is bigger now than it was last time I looked. So
Nice. All right.
but yeah, it's interesting stuff going on.
So yeah, other than that,
You want to contribute?
I want to contribute. I'm putting it out there.
You know, you can also do financial contributions if you don't want to do time or effort.
Yeah,
you can put like $5
back
at your distro or
back
or
at distro.
your favorite projects.
How do you get your name on a distro?
You give them a lot more money than $5.
I know, but but where does your name show up?
I mean, are you looking for like naming rights? Do you want like Bazite brought to you by Adam Patrick Murray?
Okay, I don't have that much money.
I mean, I'm just saying you can make that happen.
Well, I bet in distros there's like a special thanks area, right?
Yeah.
You know, how much
Yeah.
money does it take to get in there? I don't know.
I don't know. I was looking at the OBS repo the other day, and OBS, like, there's some streamers that pay for OBS.
Really?
Yeah, which makes sense because like those guys make a buttload of money doing OBS stuff. So like,
Oh, they're gold tier sponsors.
gold tier sponsors are.
Okay, well,
Oh, that's the Mac version of OBS, which.
I don't have gold tier kind of money.
Oh, okay, well,
Diamond tier sponsors.
look, we can go to potato tier sponsors. I don't know. I saw KOH Carnage, or one of the like the old school big streamers.
Carnage, dang.
Yeah, was a contributor to OBS for a long time.
Like Fatality, maybe.
Fatality doesn't get Fatality's a money in, not a money out guy.
All right. Well,
Anyway,
speaking of money out, money in,
Yeah.
we should get to the real money maker, which is questions.
I thought we should do an ad first.
Oh, you're right. Speaking of the real money, we should get the ad money. Thank you, Will.
No notes. We're not going to get comments about that.
Yeah, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back after these messages. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back. And now we're going to answer some questions. Do you like questions?
I love questions. Questions.
Do you
We've
like
got
answering questions?
We've got lots and
probably
lots
the
of
better
questions.
Questions. I'm going to get to this first one from
Dern Hager.
Dernhanger on YouTube.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Adam needs to reevaluate what his needs and wants and fit what Linux provides. Plug and play is not yet a reality in Linux and is not one of the primary goals. Users who are in between beginners and intermediate skill also don't want to learn sysadmin programming, is in a bit of a limbo in Linux.
I don't know if I agree with that, but okay.
Okay. Not much of a question here, but it made me think.
I assume this was in response to your conversation a couple of weeks ago where
Yeah.
you said you were a little shook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I wanted to bring this up, even though there was no question, specifically because I think it's a good thought. Like it got me thinking in a way that what do I want from Linux?
And I take some fault here before we get to your, like, I don't know that you have to be into programming to get to use Linux. I think you have to be, to me, it feels more like 90s and early 2000s computers where you had to do a little bit of work to keep them up and running. It's like having an old car. You had to, you're doing a little bit of more under the hood maintenance maybe with your old Mustang than you would with like a new Ioniq, right?
But I think it's what are you doing? Because I actually disagree with this as well. When I started up Pop, installed it, got it all set up. If I was just browsing the web,
Yeah, you're fine.
it would have been completely fine.
Yeah.
Even the whole, oh wait, where am I getting my package from? Like if I wanted to download an application or something like that, it doesn't matter. Like if it's all running in the web, that is fairly straightforward. You don't need to know anything. Like if this journey has taught me anything, it's like, oh yeah, actually Linux can be, depending on the distro, super easy, and depending on what you're doing and the hardware you have, I guess. But for the most part, people don't have cutting edge hardware like we do. And for the most part, people aren't doing esoteric things usually. And they just have a laptop and they just want to get on a browser kind of thing. So but what do I want from it? Because
hey, Adam, what do you want from Linux?
Well, I mean, we started this journey because, we were like, wow, Windows 11 is really like pissing us off, for lack of a better term.
I want to be less pissed off when I use my computer.
I think you more than me. Like for me, I still need it. So like I'm still using it. Whatever I can complain about it. But also at the same time, I was like, this is a good opportunity for me to learn something different and learn something new. So what I wanted to get out of this is to learn something, and I would say it's already been a success.
Yeah.
Like not I've learned something about myself.
We've both learned an incredible amount.
I've learned something about Linux. I've learned something about how operating systems.
You've learned about computers.
Yeah, I've learned more about computers.
You haven't learned how to turn off notifications on your laptop.
It's not in the recording. But like, what do I want from it if I was going to actually stick with this for a long time? And I like
more OneDrive.
No, well,
I can give you that. You can get that with rclone.
I still am very stuck in the here's how I do it over at Windows. How do I just do that on Linux?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like I keep running into this
habit.
Like Adobe. I would say, unfortunately, now that I am a video team of one, now I'm definitely in Adobe stuff.
Now more than ever.
Yeah. Because like all of our I'm having to do the stuff in Premiere as well as Photoshop, and it just Like,
let me tell you something. Let me make a pitch here for you.
Yeah.
As a video team of one, you're the only one that has to do. You're the only one you need to keep happy.
True.
So you could just throw out all the old stuff and be like, "Hey, we're doing it all new."
True.
We're gonna use some web-based video editor. Everything's in CapCut now.
Well, so the video editing thing would be easy.
Yeah,
because
DaVinci's good.
I already learned DaVinci years ago. It's still then the audio or the video stuff. That
you mean the
I'm sorry.
stuff.
I'm sorry. The Photoshop.
Honestly,
stuff.
the audio too. The audio situation is a little rough. Like Reaper is great at what it does. It is not analogous, and same way Audacity is not analogous to like a real, like anyway. There's gaps.
To be fair, what I'm doing with audio is not it's always involved with video, and what I'm doing in there is fairly lightweight. It's the Photoshop stuff that like you're asking me to not only learn a new application, but then also learn a new workflow. Yeah. So like, and that's why I'm like, okay, I'm in the middle of trying to keep everything afloat by myself. So I'm just going to have to go to the easy default, which is all Adobe stuff. So other than that, what do I want? The gaming stuff I'm happy with. Like, yes, I'm having an issue with the home theater PC stuff, but on handhelds, awesome.
And like, anytime you spin up a new PC, which the home theater PC is not really a new PC, but I feel like it's newish. There's always some. It's like when I got the Stream Machine up and running, it took me. There were some fits and starts there for a minute. So yeah, like okay. So I'm with you.
Well, so like, and I think other people's motivations might also, it's not. I think plenty of people have said one of their motivations of moving from Linux is because they want to completely get out of the Microsoft ecosystem. Like I said earlier, I am not super motivated by that. Would I love to get away from it? Sure. If this whole Linux stuff works out for me, awesome, cool. But like I'm not. That's not. Ooh, the light at the end of the tunnel. I can't wait to get away from it. It's more like that would be okay, cool. That would be awesome.
Is it time for Dual Boot Diaries Season 2 where we start with Haiku?
Yeah, we'll see. So I don't know. It's a good question. What do you want from Linux? What do you want from Linux? I think everyone has different ones.
I will say I set up that Mac to do Blue Bubbles a couple weeks ago, and it's been a long time since I set up a Mac from scratch. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of surprised by how much they hit you with sales. Like I will tell you, every time I boot up my computer and it doesn't try to sell me something, and I'm not constantly being marketed to the entire time I use it, it is really, really good for my mental health.
Yeah.
Like the having to say, just the cognitive load of having to say no 200 times a day to spam calls trying to sell you stuff, and spam emails trying to sell you stuff, and spam ads on websites trying to sell you stuff, and then the OS doing it too on top of everything else. The one place that I should feel safe and happy and in my comfortable place. It's really nice not having that inimical relationship with the software that runs the other software on my computer.
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing I'm looking for. And like at this point I'm down to like, I think on Mondays I stream with Nextlander in the afternoon, and I typically run in Windows there because we sometimes switch games around and it's just easier. And I know that it like I'm there, doing a job, and I want to make sure that like my weird computer choices don't screw up their streams. So I tend to run Windows, and that's fine. I feel like the rest of the time I'm pretty much Linux all the time, unless I'm switching over to play Marathon, honestly, at this point. So, and Marathon, I'm kind of increasingly thinking that maybe Marathon is a controller game because of the speed at which the ADSing works and how quickly I'm getting pwned by people who have names like PSN Rules 2022.
Just play it on console.
So maybe I should get a PS5.
It's a console shooter.
Of that game to play over there. But anyway,
what do you want from Linux?
What do you want from Linux? What do you want from Linux?
Friend of the show, Datus, the Deezer CEO, asked,
"Is he really the Deezer CEO? That's amazing."
Yeah, probably, maybe. Who knows? We'll never know. More recently, have you experienced regression in games or programs? Early January and before, games just worked. Now, crashes, hours down the rabbit hole trying to find solutions on ProtonDB, Steam community, Reddit, etc. I'm fighting the urge to go back to Windows.
I've had a couple weird things lately, but nothing I would consider like major regressions. I can't remember, I was trying to play a game that was like a 2D pixel game that was, I think, doing 2x upscaling. So it was like rendering at like 720p and then upscaling to 1440p or whatever.
Okay.
And it was only filling a quarter of my screen. Like the rest of the screen was black as if there was supposed to be game there, but it just was only filling a small portion. And like I play a lot of indie games, like a lot of indie games. So I'll dip into, and I play a lot of them for like 20 or 30 minutes. I don't play them for a ton. It's one of the benefits of working in the space is A, people send me their games to look at, and B, I don't, like I can, anything I end up buying, I end up deducting from my taxes because it's a business expense.
There you go. Yeah.
But like I do find, like it definitely is up and down. Like there have been good versions of Proton and bad versions of Proton. The thing that I found is that when like the current supported or official release of Proton that Cache ships or that Steam is shipping seems weird or janky, I just switch to one of the GE ones or one of the Proton ones. I basically cycle between the official Valve, the Steam G, the Glorious Egg Roll, the GE Proton GE ones, and the Cache official ones. And the Proton official, the Proton official doesn't include stuff that's patent encumbered. So like there's some video codecs and stuff like that it doesn't work right with. The Glorious Egg Roll and the Cache ones do include that stuff. So like if you have a game, especially an older game that has a lot of video stuff in it, like Bink Video or whatever in it, that may not work in the official Valve versions of Proton, but it will in the GE or the Cache one. It's also possible you have some sort of hardware problem, Deotis, because like this is why having the dual boot's actually nice, is because if I'm having something weird happening in Linux, I can boot over into Windows and see if it's still happening there too. Like when I was setting up the second PC for streaming, I was having weird crashes in both Windows and Linux, and it was nice to be able to confirm that it was not just my Linux install being bad. Mm-hmm. So it might be worth squeezing a little space and doing a Windows boot and see what it looks like.
I'm trying to think really hard. And I can't think of a program or a game or anything like that has I've seen a regression. Like I guess I don't know how that would pop up specifically. Like if there's like a feature missing or like what would, like what's an example? Like,
well, I mean, if you had like something crashing. So for example, when I had the stream machine, when I was setting it up and I was having crashes and I thought I had a hardware problem.
Well, but that wasn't a regression because you never got it to work.
But that machine
in the first
never
place.
was working. Yeah. So I mean, I guess the thing I would say is if you're having crashes and stuff like that, that's when you learn how to use the journal control and stuff like that to kind of dig into the logs and see actually what's crashing, because sometimes that's really informative and helps figure out. The other thing I'll say is, like actually getting in and posting them in the Discord, like starting one of those help threads and posting them in the Discord or in the Wendell's forums,
level one techs,
level
one Linux or whatever.
People there are really helpful, and my understanding is that most of the way the logging system works in Linux is you're not supposed to have like secure PII information in the logs. It's going to cause you problems. So you're safe just uploading the entire log. Asterisk me being not an expert, But that's been my when I've asked about that in the past. That's maybe a question we should ask Mikey when he's here.
Well, that's good too. Yeah, I guess I consider myself lucky. I have not really had any major issues with programs that I can think of, like games on handhelds. Like, no, not yeah. I guess I've been lucky.
I mean, it's the nice thing is most of the problems I've had with Proton have been either it's never going to work no matter what I do because of stuff like the Marathon anti-cheat.
Oh, the anti-cheat, yeah.
Yeah, or it's more complex. Like it's more binary, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no hey, maybe if I futz with this just a little bit more, it'll work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. You got another question?
Except for my laptop froze.
Hey, Adam, have you had any regressions or
yeah,
instability?
right?
Oh, no, that's bad because it's running our recording.
No, it's okay. I'm recording here and there.
Oh, we have 3 recordings.
Yeah,
so
we always have extra recording backups.
So let's do this live.
Yeah, let's do this live.
Control Alt F2 or
Control
F3.
Alt F2 or F3.
Yeah, or try one. Yeah, no.
Nope.
It's dead. It's locked up.
I mean, I've got a mouse.
Yeah. Can you click on the taskbar? Your left side taskbar?
Nothing.
Has this happened before?
No. Oh, and now the mouse isn't even moving. Okay, well,
let's see what happens.
That's
just
great.
let it ride.
Yeah, we'll just let it ride. I can't get to the rest of the questions. So, Will, do you have Discord open?
Why, yes, Adam, I do.
Why don't you go to DBD_questions
in the Discord?
In the Discord, you can go there as well and ask us some fine questions. Oh, there we go. Here, wait, what is this?
Oh, so you're on a different console, so you can log in there with your normal login for that machine, and then you can open Journal Control and see what the log says happened to your desktop environment, and probably PSAU exit, and then or just reboot.
Okay, well, it didn't do anything.
So Scribefix has a question I wondered about. This is a Mike question. We'll save that for next week. Let's see. A lot of questions from Mike. This is the question we already answered. Instead of Callie Weber says, instead of an OS, have you thought to go to the Chris Titus tech route and have a script that will do all the installs and config changes to the base distro? I think Omarchy is like this and start as an Arch meta package / setup script. Yeah, this is the easy. This is how you accidentally end up doing a distro if you don't intend to do a distro.
Oh yeah, so there's actually a lot of people being like, oh, if you're gonna do StreamOS or whatever, like here are some easier ways to do this.
Multiple people suggested this.
Why didn't you turn it off?
I thought I turned it off. It's 4 p.m. apparently, according to the flower. So the meta package or the installer script or like a Nix flake. We talked about Nix a few weeks ago, and you can configure the whole thing from one file. All are perfectly reasonable ways to get started doing this. I think probably given that I'm running Cache and I'm most comfortable with Cache and that my stuff is all running on Cache, that's the most likely place that I'll start and do. And probably it will start as like a blog post that is, here's all the stuff that I install and here's how I configure KDE to boot directly to the desktop and stuff like that, which, just to be clear, not the most secure because like my things like my Twitch key and all that stuff are accessible from the desktop. So if somebody came into my house, broke into my house, turned on this computer, opened it up, copied and pasted
they're like, I cannot wait to get this stream key.
Look, here's the thing. The PC is pretty small. It'd be easier to just steal the whole PC
pretty much.
and take it out. And then they can stream to my channel and talk to literally dozens of people.
Wow.
Anytime they want.
Wow.
But other than that, it's probably fine. So yeah, I think that's an interesting idea and is much more manageable than, hey, I'm going to spin up a bunch of repos and do my own distro, which seems like a nightmare.
Can I say you're continuing to entertain this idea?
Blog post.
You're
Adam.
continuing to entertain this idea.
Here's the thing. I was looking the other night about, I don't remember what I was looking for specifically, but I found a post from a guy who was posting to like one of this, hey, I'm trying to get into streaming and I don't know how to do this, but I'm a Linux guy. And the responses were all, oh God, you'd have to be a complete maniac to stream from Linux. And I was kind of surprised.
Huh. Wait, where was this?
Reddit? On one of the streaming, noob streamer Reddits.
Huh.
And it just came up when I was searching for something else. So I dug into it and I was like, oh.
You could have said, actually.
Well, no, the post was like 3 years old, so I'm not gonna.
I mean, you could.
No, I'm not gonna dig up. It's against the rules usually to dredge up an ancient dead post. So, I looked at it, and I was like, yeah, this is actually.
Actually.
It's much easier now than it used to be, but there are still a bunch of hiccups, and there's still a bunch of weird. Like last night, I was trying to set it up so I can change the transition using my Stream Deck, using Open Deck, which is something that's pretty easy to do using like a third-party plugin on the Elgato side, on the official software, and the OBS plugin that I'm using for the Open Deck software just doesn't have that nobody's bothered to build that yet for that. So like. It's in the API. It would be easy to add. I could probably figure out how to do a pull request for it and add that. Nope.
Get that achievement.
I mean, maybe get more achievement. I do like an achievement. But the point is, it's not as easy, and there are things that you can and can't do. And I think it would be really useful to have a list of things that you can and can't do that's just an ever-growing list where things come off of it when you can do them and go on it when you discover that you can't do them. And then there's also stuff like the fact that all the different distros ship different versions of OBS with different problems, right? So like some of them don't have the browser plugin, some of them don't have the VLC playlist plugin, some of them don't have this plugin or that plugin or the other one, and like it's an ongoing like there's a lot of weird esoteric knowledge, but also it's a perfect case for, hey, I don't want to pay $100 for a Windows license for this computer, right? Like. If you're doing a 2 PC setup, it makes sense maybe to have a Windows license, and then maybe not for the like. Why does a streaming machine need a Windows license attached to it?
It's almost like they need somebody to make this for them.
Yeah, just Venmo me cash. I'll send you tips.
All right, I have a command prompt here.
You just type reboot.
Reboot.
Yeah.
Nope, nothing.
Sudo reboot. Nope.
Oh,
see, it's
no,
rebooted.
okay, there we go.
Perfect.
Great.
Life finds
Love
a
it.
way.
I'm just glad we did not lose the audio.
Well, you're going to lose the Audacity recording.
I lost the Audacity recording. That's fine. It's why we record internally as well.
That's a Mikey question. God, there are a lot of questions about my distro here.
People are StreamOS.
Ensel says, Will, I'm trying to remember if you spent much time talking about your Sunshine Moonlight setup. You brought it up this week, so I was curious. I'd only just in the last 2 weeks ironed out my Sunshine setup and got virtual monitors working, so curious to know where you're at. So what I'm doing, because I'm on Neri, and Neri has a weird relationship with virtual monitors, I am and also because my gaming PC is plugged into a USB capture card that's always hot because of the way the motherboard is set up on the stream machine. I generally speaking have the monitor that's attached to that capture card turned off, and then I have a button on the Stream Deck that turns it on when I want to stream to it, like for a stream. When I connect to the Sunshine server that's running on that machine all the time with a Moonlight client, the Sunshine software knows to turn off the other two monitors, the two DisplayPort monitors that I'm using all the time, and turn on the HDMI monitor and then put the game on the HDMI monitor. So basically it's working as though I had plugged an HDMI dongle into my HDMI port, but it's just sending out a 1440p signal or whatever to the capture card on the other machine.
Nice.
And it ends up working really well. And I get the benefit of, like, the monitors in my office aren't on all the time when I'm streaming to like a handheld or to the living room or something like that, which is quite nice.
Is that a setup you think would be easy for other people to set up? Like, do you recommend that, or is it just more like that's your use case?
I think it's more like if you're running KDE or GNOME or something like that. I mean, I think most people running game setups on Linux are probably more likely running Plasma than anything else. And there's better solutions for that because KDE has just a command line utility. So basically my script runs Neri message display and then the display name and then on or off, depending. You can set up commands in Sunshine for when a client connects. And I'm turning some monitor, the one monitor on, the other two off. And then when they disconnect, I turn the one monitor off and the other two monitors, the physical monitors, back on. In KDE, it's a different command, but it's the same basic idea, and you have a tool that you can use to do that. You probably have to hit the power button. Yep. Or get a new laptop, one or the other.
Well,
it's 50,
time for a new one.
Hey, Adam, do you need a new laptop?
I guess I need to reinstall.
Yeah, reinstall Cachie.
I don't have Cachie.
Do we want to do one more?
Yeah, well, let's do one more. Sorry, I got locked out of the questions and notes that I had set up. What do you got?
So Cassolus asked,
friend of the show,
Cassolus asked, how are you both feeling about the updates that your software stacks of choice have made over the last 6 months since starting the podcast?
Well, I mean, I've changed distros a couple times, so I guess
Well, but you've settled. You've been on Fedora basically for the last few months, right?
Yeah. When was it that
It's before Christmas because you were doing it in the lead up for CES.
Oh yeah, right. So maybe November.
You're coming up on 4 months, probably.
Huh. Interesting. Like I still do get the notifications sometimes from the software manager or whatever, but for the most part, every time I turn it on, I just open up a terminal window and do sudo DNF update. Yeah. Like I don't have to. It just I do it from a fresh boot. Just to,
I do that right before I shut down at the end of the night.
Oh really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. Well, depending on what it updates, I'll do reboot. Like if it's just mostly small updates, I'm like, whatever, not a big deal. So I mean, yeah, I have thought like should I stop doing that and just rely only when the software manager thing pops up, because the software manager thing is it's not only the applications that I have installed, but it also is like system updates and stuff like that. So it's comprehensive, but usually I get out ahead of it. So
let's see. I'm running Cachie, which is more rolling, and since I'm running Cachie with Noctalia, which at the time I started this was not the supported way to run Neri, right? Like Cachie gives you a lot of different options on desktop managers and windowing systems and all that. So you can do KDE or GNOME, you can do Hyperland, you can do X3D, XC3D, XF3D, I don't know, XFC, sorry. There's all sorts of different window manager options. You can even do Cosmic on Cachie if you want. And I tried multiples of them. So I set up stuff that I was basically using. I set up GNOME on my laptop and KDE on my desktop early. And then I started looking at the tiling window managers because people were really excited about them. And I watched some videos on YouTube and was like, I should try these. And I was like, I'm going to go down the whole list. And I loaded up Neri and Noctalia. I was like, oh, I'm good. This is fantastic. This is exactly what I wanted in a computer. So for me, the Cachie stuff is kind of invisible except for bug fixes. So like I had that problem with DaVinci Resolve on Cachie because there was a fix that came in like December, or late November or something that fixed a crash bug that was really a problem on DaVinci Resolve. And the person who was maintaining that package on the AUR, on the Arch repository, just was on vacation. It was offline for a few months, and it didn't get updated. And then a couple weeks ago, they updated it, and now all of a sudden, DaVinci Resolve is working great. So like stuff like that's really good, but that feels like that's not the spirit of the question. For me, it's things like when I started using Noctalia, which is a quick shell that lives on top of Neri. So it basically does like the bar with your running your system tray and your clock and like
I do really like that.
Visualizers and all that stuff.
It's like the one thing I'm jealous of.
It's hot
in your setup.
It's some hot business. I mean, if you used my setup a lot, you'd be jealous of more. I'm just gonna say, but and it also controls the launcher, right? So like you get a different launcher with Noctalia shell than you get with straight Neri. There's a handful of other things. There's like overlays and plugins and all that kind of stuff. But basically, it's the things that you kind of think of as the OS normally, right? And that software, I think because of, the other one that's popular right now is Dank Shell, which they both started around the same time. I assume it's a drug reference, but I don't know for sure.
Is that Dank Shell?
You got that Dank Shell, baby. And they're both like... Part of it is that the quick shell stuff is really well built and seems to be incredibly extensible and relatively straightforward. in a way that a lot of like OS shell work isn't. But it's moving incredibly fast. Like both of them are moving at a really really fast pace. And I believe I haven't run the Hyperland stuff as much, but when you're running in Neri, then everything's basically configurable through one of a couple of text files. So it's just editing some text files, and it's pretty like at first that sounds really scary and intimidating when you're used to working in like a settings pane or whatever. But in terms of, hey, I have it set so that like all my chat applications open on one virtual desktop, and all of the reference applications open, like my browser and my notes apps and stuff like that, all open on another one, and games open on a third one. It really makes a ton of sense for my brain particularly, and it gives me the right amount of stuff to futz with on the computer without A, taking over my entire life and making it so that I don't ever get any work done, or B, not getting in the way of me doing work, right? So I don't know. I feel pretty good about it. I'm surprised at how fast it moves, honestly, because my perception the last time I did this seriously was like 2003, right? And back then Debian updated every 6 months whether you needed it or not. So this is a little bit different this go round, and it's fun. It's fun when the most visible parts of the OS are changing for the better on such a fast like Noctalia is doing a point release every week basically right now. It's wild. That's
fast.
It is at some point it's going to become too fast, but the people making it seem to be having a lot of fun. And like I look at the changelog, which didn't open for some reason when I just clicked on it. Maybe
Got him.
Missed. Yeah, roasted. And well, okay. There we go.
There's.
So yeah, like it's like they have new features, improvements, and bug fixes every single week. So like the last one, this one is 3.12. This one is 3.10. This one is 3.08. They're updating literally every other day.
Jeez.
And like sometimes it's a bit much, but it's just kind of nice. And they're getting to the point now where they're identifying problems that live outside of the shell and replacing and making their own forks of projects that like will do underlying parts so they can do things better, which I like. It's thoughtful.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice.
Anyway.
Well, my laptop is back, but I think we should end it here.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I think we got enough stuff in here. But don't forget, next week we have an episode with my white hat friend, my certified ethical hacker friend, Mike Dinsaglio. He's going to be on, so get questions that you have for a security professional inside of the DBD questions channel over on Discord. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to use Discord, then you can send an electronic mail to the full nerd at PCWorld.com.
I need the full nerd at PCWorld.com.
Yeah, I should check that email.
Before next week, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We're going to record on Tuesday next week. Is that the thought?
Yes. The thought is Tuesday afternoon.
Okay. So then your cutoff is probably Tuesday at noonish Pacific time would be my guess next week.
Yeah. Definitely get your questions in. We've already got some good questions. I'm excited about this. It's fun to hang out with Mike. You didn't get a chance to record with Mikey for the previous time he was on Dual Boot Diaries.
More videos with him like reclining on a couch someplace. Or
I want to hear. I want to hear about his Linux journey as well. Because last time I talked to him, it was still pretty early on for me.
Yeah,
like I think it was September.
We were talking to Wendell, and he was opening.
Because it was right after it was right after the Intel
thing.
Yeah. So I wasn't completely fresh faced, but enough that
you were still distro hopping on the reg back then.
Oh yeah.
Back in the back.
I mean, some would say I haven't stopped.
I mean,
anyway, check back next week for your fix of Linux talk here on Dual Boot Diaries. If you want to watch us talk about this stuff and look at our pretty faces, then go over to the Full Nerd Network on YouTube. Mm-hmm. You can subscribe there, get notifications for the show, or catch one of our other awesome shows like Expedition Handheld, where I team up with Russ from Retro Game Core to talk about handheld gaming devices, our full PC World crew for the Full Nerd, talking about DIY desktop PC building news. But also, some people have noticed, maybe, from last week that the video version has also showed up on Spotify.
What? They
Yeah.
have video on Spotify now? That's for music.
Yeah. So if you are one of the 5% that listens to the show on Spotify, now you have the choice. You have a toggle whether you want to listen to the audio version or the video version.
If you have data caps, maybe listen to the audio version.
I have no idea how any of that works. All I know is I literally just upload the video file now.
And that's it?
And then if you're on Spotify, you get access to the video or the audio, and then through the RSS feed to everyone else, you just get the audio from that video.
What if I use like Downcast or Podcatcher or Apple Podcasts?
Nothing's going to be different.
Get wrecked.
Like
just audio.
Yeah, because even though you're getting the audio from the video, the way that I'm compressing and all that stuff, it's going to sound the same. So,
Okay.
I mean, listen, let me know if it sounds different on the audio feeds and you think there is an issue with that. But so far, cross your fingers, seems like it's working out fine. But let me know if you're excited to have us on video form in places other than YouTube, because maybe you are. Anyway, what else? Anything else?
Usually talk about the Tech Pod too.
The Tech Pod, the glorious Tech Pod, Will's podcast
Brad
on
and
the
Will made a
content
Tech Pod.
town.
Yeah.
The town of contents.
Yeah, if you want, we talk about single serving tech topics. We've also started doing a monthly news roundup because we've realized that we like talking about news and we don't have an excuse to do it. So
yeah,
we talked about let's see, all the hottest topics last week. Project Helix.
Yeah, get that Xbox.
The new PSSR from Sony. Some other
PlayStation
stuff.
Spectral super spectral resolution.
Yeah,
I don't
something
know.
like that.
Anyway.
And some other stuff. Like it's but it's a good time.
It's
If you like
general tech.
General tech. We do a fair amount of Linux talk over there. Brad is an old school Linux command line admin.
Yeah. No, it's fun stuff. So thank you for hanging out with us. It was a good time. Thank you.
Hey, thank
Will,
you
for hanging out with me.
I'm just impressed that you finally finished that CAPTCHA. I thought you weren't going to get it for a minute there. I thought the machines were going to win.
Woo. That was GitHub needs Microsoft get a better CAPTCHA system. I don't know why that was so bad.
How do you have CAPTCHAs in a world where the robots can see pictures and interpret them and read text and interpret that?
No clue.
Yeah.
No clue. Also,
that's not my problem
when I
to figure out.
rebooted, I got a notification saying command completed, user bin bash.
Oh.
So
I wonder if the problem was your Matrix command screensaver that had been running since we recorded Full Nerd this morning.
It wasn't a screensaver. It was just
Matrix in the command line.
there you
in
go.
the terminal.
Matrix. See Matrix.
This is how it happens.
I love it. I don't see the lady in the red dress. I just see code.
Yeah. Blonde, brunette. That's bad.
Green code.
Green. It's all green characters.
Thanks everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.